All right, folks, from the West Coast to the East Coast and everything in between, folks. You are live with Lonzo, the Godfather of West Coast hip hop, and yes, from the Eve After Dark, the concerts in the park, y'all. We are back once again. It's me and Dusty, baby. Me and Dusty is about to go down. Now, we had a hell of a week in hip hop, music, and everything else. And as I prepare to bring my man Dusty Vision on, I don't see him in his chair, but he there.
I'm here. What up, my man?
What's up with you, Dusty One?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Like I said, a lot to talk about this week, but let's jump into it first. How was Vegas?
Man, Vegas was off the chain, Doc. That's an old phrase. I know that's an old ass phrase. But me and Yella had a chance to connect, hook up, hang out, man. And we connected, before. We never did a book signing before. And so we was out there at a beautiful venue out in Vegas on the lake. And he hung out, and we had a good time. And we sit there, kicked it back and forth. And people buy my book, people buy his book, and it just was a good experience overall, man. He couldn't hang out no time. He had another gig to do he had another appearance to do out in Bakersfield. But overall, man, it was great. It was great.
That's dope. Well, when we had Fat on last Thursday, which I encourage everybody out there to check out that interview, such a great interview that we did last Thursday with Fat. You guys mentioned something that I would love to start the show off with.
Go for it.
You mentioned, or he mentioned, that Dr. Dre battled Run DMC.
I don't remember that one, Doc. When he said that, I'm like, what?
Yeah, he said that.
Dre, I don't think Dre, he was with me at the time. I don't recall him battling them. I'd have to ask clientele. Dre, he was around. I know Yellow was there. Because Dre was the last one to join the crew.
Okay.
And he came after Curtis Blow. He came during the Curtis Blow era, that's for sure. And but we had so he definitely was there because he came during the Curtis Blow era, because that's when Yellow learned how to scratch, blah, blah, blah. And then we brought Run DMC in shortly after that. So it's possible. I don't recall that one, Doc. That one kind of said that. I'm like, damn, because like he said some things I forgot that I know that was true. I just happened to forget them. So you talking about 40-some years ago, Doc. So sometimes I do recall some things.
I feel you on that. Well, what was it like, or what did it take to get one of the biggest rap groups, Run DMC at the time, to perform at your club?
It wasn't shit. It was like, Russell, hey man, Russell called. I just booked Curtis, and Russell, I got another group. If you're interested, man, I really ain't tripping nobody else. Oh man, they're gonna be hot. Okay, and I don't know nothing about them. Send me their record. I got their record, and I think it was it's like that, and that's the way it is. And the record was cool. It didn't pack the dance floor. And for us at Eve After Dark back then, if it didn't pack the dance floor, we never a lot of use for it. And he kind of sold me them. It was a salesmanship. It was a sales job. Man, give me 500 some plane tickets and put them in a hotel. And I'm like, cool. And I did just that, only to find out they had cut a deal with Uncle Jam's Army, and they ended up being at the sports arena. I ended up paying the whole goddamn bill. Me and Roger fought about that for years. That pissed me off to the highest level of pissivity.
What was your relationship like with Russell Simmons? Like, what kind of guy was he?
Oh, he seemed to be cool, man. He's a New York dude. If you heard us both on the phone, at that time, you probably can understand a damn thing we were saying. We both got them lisps and shit. And his is a little worse than mine. But he was cool. We did Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He gave me Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde because the debacle when me and him had a falling out, because I was like, dude, how you gonna have me bring a group out here, pay for them, and then send them to my competition around the corner? Okay. And I didn't like that at all. So to make up for that, he brought me gave me Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which is Andre Harrell and his partner Alonzo. And I didn't realize until I saw Andre Harrell at the premiere for Straight Outta Compton that it was two Andre and Alonzo's. Okay, me and Unknown's real name was Andre. We run in the Eve After Dark. And you got Andre and Alonzo, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. No big deal. Just another one of them hip hop things. Just like with Havoc and Prodigy. It's two of them, okay? Two different groups, East Coast, and nobody had met anybody. Nobody ever heard of anybody else, but it just happened to be two guys named Havoc and Prodigy in a group, from two different sides of the tracks. One of those strange hip hop coincidences.
Dr. Dre.
Dr. Dre. Yeah, another one, right?
Yeah.
So speaking of Dr. Dre, he and I are working on a little project together. I think I'm going to convert my Thursday show to a show with Dr. Dre. We've been talking about it for the last longest. We're going to call it the Legendary Connects. We'll do some of the same thing I was doing at first. He's going to co-host with me, bringing some of the East Coast folks. So we're going to expand the show. We're going to focus. You and I are going to focus more on the West Coast folks. I got a lot of people on the West Coast I haven't got to yet, but to try and book 2 shows a week can be kind of taxing. So he's going to help me. He has an assistant going to help me book the show and help us do it. Blah blah blah. He'll co-host with me, so it's going to be interesting, man. I'm trying to get my podcast game up to another level, but I need some help on this in the office. I mean, you do a fantastic job of what you do, but sometimes I need some extra hands, and so he got some extra hands, so we're gonna make it happen.
That's gonna be dope. How's his health doing?
Huh?
How is Dre's health doing?
He's still blind.
Yeah, so he is blind. Damn. Oof.
And I think he lost a foot. And what's funny, man, he don't let that stop him. He, hey man, when we do the show, you make damn sure you don't give me no breaks because I'm blind. I'm like, hey, talk about it. Let it be known. All right, you fucking with the wrong person. I don't want to hurt your feelings now. So anyway, it's I'm looking forward to doing the show, man. He and I have a good relationship. So we clown as it is. We both got that crazy ass old school sense of humor. So I'm looking forward to it. It should be a pretty hot show.
Cool, man. Did you know anybody else from your MTV Raps like Ed Lover, Fab Five Freddy?
I met Fab Five Freddy a couple years ago. We had bumped into each other back in the day, but back then you didn't have cameras and stuff in your pocket. So it was, hey, what's up? That's Fab Five Freddy. That's Lonzo. But we got pictures together. We were at an event a couple years ago out in Beverly Hills, and I did get a chance to meet him. I don't know Ed Lover. Again, I may have met him, just don't recall it. Okay, I was moving fast back in the day, man. I was moving real fast back in the day, and I didn't take a lot of cats. Excuse me. Not gonna sound. I didn't take them serious, but I was in my own little world, making shit happen on my end, and if it really wasn't benefiting me, I'm sorry. At that time, when I was really doing my thing big time, these guys weren't even around yet. Then I stepped off and I was into the club thing, so I really wasn't tripping on a lot of TV stuff at the time.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, let's jump into a few things. We got some questions already in the audience. I'm copying and pasting all those, and we'll get to those. But a couple things I wanted to chat with you about, Lonzo. The feds grabbed 11 members of a Brooklyn gang for $4 million COVID fund scams. They're starting to catch up to them, man.
You know it was coming, baby. You know it was coming. Some people, I didn't take the PPP, man, just on the strength. But you know what? I'm all right, okay? I got some other little blessings that came through. I'm not gonna push my luck. I'm stupid like that. I know when to stop. Okay, some people don't, and obviously they may have been some of those. I just feel like I didn't got too grown to be fighting cases and doing dumb shit.
Yeah,
that's what it is. People make it easy, and when it's easy, people, it's usually a trap. Whether it's a guy, a girl, money, when it's usually too easy, it might be a trap, and most people get their ass caught in the trap every time.
Oh yeah, all that free money you're getting, you'll see it in your taxes.
Oh yeah. You got to account for that shit, especially a PPP loan, because that right there is that's not even a loan. That's just not even a gift, but it can be. I don't know if it can be declared income or not, but I think it can be. I know the other ones they had, the ESLs, whatever it was, those are considered loans. Those are not considered income. But the PPP, because it's forgivable, it could be considered income. Don't hold me to that. I'm not a tax person.
Some say Kanye West is changing the game. He turned down a $100 million deal to make his own music stream, or he turned down $100 million to have his music streamed on all the platforms. He preferred to release it on his own platform titled STEM. I'm sure you've heard about this.
Yeah.
What's your reaction to that?
What I understand is the STEM platform, excuse me, that he has. When you make a record, every track is considered a STEM. Okay, so you can actually get the record and unmix it and then remix it because you have all the stems. Okay, and that's like giving somebody a 24 track master back in the day. Bottom line, I know one of my buddies did a deal. He got that a website where you buy beats, BeatStar, and you can get a beat, but it got the logos, all the audio logos all through it. You can get a 2-track master, lease it for a while, maybe cost you $35-$40, but to get the stems cost you $1,500. And if you want to get them exclusively, might cost you $3,000-$4,000, depending on what your deal is. Anyway, having the stems allows you to do a lot more with the song. You can play with it, remix it, whatever. I think he sold 10,000 of them things at $200 a piece, $2 million right quick. Hey, dude. And again, you're talking to a guy that don't need no money. You ain't talking to somebody who got, who need them streams. He don't need the money. The $100 million, that's, he got that already. So it's a whole different mindset. It could change the game. He could be pulling a Nipsey Hussle type situation where he sold, X amount of records for $100 a piece, made him a quick 100,000, whatever the numbers were, and put him on the map, put him in the eyesight of Jay-Z and some other folks. But again, Kanye, he's a different kind of dude. So he might be on to something. You never know.
Yeah, man, I'm interested to see where music is going. Let's go back, because music is obviously released different nowadays through things like STEM and Spotify and stuff. But what are some of the things you had to do personally back in the 80s to prepare for an album release?
An album release, man, you had to get all the artwork done. I mean, back then for us, it wasn't just a matter of recording it. You had to do the photo shoot, the layout. You had to hire a graphic designer to lay out your album covers, do all the drafts, see all that stuff, do the labels, try and coordinate, figure out what the single's gonna be, coordinate some radio promotion. Most of the time, we didn't have a money for a full budget, so we had to do a regional situation. We'd have to promote the record regionally, and we find the best region for the least amount of money, which was at that time was down south. There was no competition, and anything we shot down there got played on the radio for a small amount of money, and we brought it back. We always had K-Day, so that wasn't a big deal, but we didn't get Kiss FM till we got Turn Off the Lights. We didn't get KSOL. We got some KSOL for Surgery and Juice, but Lovers really got his KSOL, and same thing with Turn Off the Lights. So it was, and then we had to sequence the album. And in sequencing the album, thank you, Willie Mo. Sequencing the album was very important, man, because back then you had to set the mood from the first track, and you had to make sure everything was in order. And it was a lot of strategy just to put the songs in some kind of order so they made sense to the listener. Because the dream situation would be somebody put it on the beginning and play it all the way through. Flip it over, do the same thing again. So you don't want people to have to flip back and forth, depending on who you were. Some people wanted you to flip back and forth to make sure you heard both sides. Some people put everything on all the good songs on one side, trash on the other. Some people would put it all depends on your strategy for the album.
Gotcha. Now, for Turn Off the Lights to be on Kiss FM, that was a big deal back then, right? I mean, that pretty much meant it was a pop hit.
Yeah, it went pop. We had singles. We had 12 7-inch singles made for it. We had a pop version done for it, which you cut a lot of the song out. It was a whole different situation, man, to go pop, and it made the record get more airplay. It became more of a crossover hit at that point. It didn't stay on there too long because our money ran out, but still, we did got some crossover airplay. That wasn't the only market. That's the only one I know of for sure. I remember hearing it on Kiss FM.
Okay. Do you have any idea why records were released on Tuesdays back in the day?
Yeah, I know exactly why.
Oh, okay.
Because it had to ship them on Monday to get to the stores on Tuesday. They would ship them. They would ship them on maybe Sunday, depending on how hot it was. It needed a day to travel and set up all the displays. So on Monday night, all the displays went up. Okay, Monday night, depending on who it is. If it was somebody real hot, they may start putting the display up at noon on Monday. But you better not sell not one record before midnight. Better not. Okay. If a record went out before midnight, you might not get no more records. Dude, it was back then, it was serious. Okay. Even the chain store, that's why a lot of chain stores, depending on who the artist was, would open at 12:01. That's technically Tuesday morning. That's Tuesday. So they would get a jump on all the other mom and pop stores because, depending on who it was, if it was Michael or one of the bigger rock and roll groups, they would open, or they stay open past midnight so they can justify selling records on Tuesday. And then also Tuesday was record day. Okay. Everybody went to all the record promoters and all the marketing departments got with all their salespeople and all their marketing people on Monday so they could go to the radio stations on Tuesday. And that was the same day records came out. Everything was coordinated.
Okay, and shout out to the Asian homie at the Compton Swap Meet. He used to let me come about 6 p.m. on Mondays to pick up the album that was going to be released the next day.
Yeah, that was a big thing, dude. That was a big privilege. You knew somebody that could slide you a promo or something before it came out. You was your shit.
Mm-hmm. Man, fun times, dude. You know what, Lonzo? Let's go back a little bit more into the process of artwork, because I know ink and paper and things like that were pretty damn expensive. It wasn't as easy as putting it on your computer, deleting it if you didn't like it. Talk to me about the process of the artwork that goes onto your album.
To do a album, man, you had to have a real graphic designer. Somebody had to lay it out, and sometimes little mistakes would be left on there, dude, because it took so much to fix them. Sometimes somebody would leave out a comma or put an A or drop misspelling somebody's name who wasn't that significant. And fuck them, I might go spend another 2 weeks, another week or two trying to get this shit done. Don't worry about it. He don't know how to spell his name, no way. It was a different time, dude. And that's what the graphic designers came in, but you had to be a real artist, because back then you're not using a computer, you cutting out pictures and you resizing stuff, and you have to, excuse me, I ate before I came on the show. You had to resize stuff by hand and know what you were doing from a graphic designer standpoint to really make things happen. You had to get the pictures, and then you and it all depends on your style of graphic designing also. If you did a Parliament Funkadelic cover or something like that, it might take you 6 months to do that cover, dude. And don't mention the liner notes for a Parliament Funkadelic album. Liner notes, man, that was a cartoon. It was literally a cartoon. Okay.
Shout out to Rob Durham real quick, dropping $9.99. Thank you, Rob.
Much love to you. Yes, it was literally a cartoon that you could read, man, for weeks out there, because all kind of little shit was always being tucked away. And then to read the album, the liner notes of an album, man, that's when you were a real fan, because you knew who did everything. Okay, you knew everything about the product, because there was a little thing called liner notes, and it was actually like a little book that was a manual and a book of everything about this album, where it was recorded at, who was the engineer, who played guitar, bass, whatever the case may be. And those things is where your fans really came in at, because your fans had a chance to really get to know the artist and the procedure of making music.
Nice. Do you know, because back in the day, it was real easy for rappers to take a James Brown sample. And I mean, James Brown is probably one of the most used guys in hip hop, and he probably didn't get paid for it. But do you know when the music industry started or was able to crack down on stuff like that?
As soon as they realized they was making some money, the whole time out, motherfucker, hold on, y'all making money. Ain't nobody called nobody to ask them shit. That was, at first they tried to do it with a 1-bar sample or two bar loop, something like that. Then these guys got so creative with these loops and was able to break that shit down. And Battle Cat is probably one of them cats. He can take a sample and slow it down, flip it, and you won't even recognize that shit when you get through with it. Okay, he's like that, and so they started realizing they had to start. It became another industry profession to be able to decipher what is in a what's been sampled and how slow it is and what has it been reversed, whatever the case may be. I would say, man, probably around the late 80s when people just started taking songs and just like not digital underground.
De La Soul.
De La Soul made a whole album. The album just got cleared a few months ago, if I'm mistaken. They've been fighting them clearances forever. There was some dope shit, but they just, the sampler changed the game. You upload some shit and cut it and truncate it and flip it around and quantize it. Shit. You got a hit record. All you got to do now is talk some shit. Miami Bass, I see you, baby. Much love to you.
Thank you, Miami 808.
Miami 808, I see you. Miami Bass. I'll be tripping. He got a question for me. I got to answer this question right quick.
Yeah, you actually got it. I got it right here.
Okay.
Miami 808 says, speaking of records, Lonzo, did you know Steve Yano? And if so, can you talk about him?
Did I know Steve Yano?
You talk about.
Did I know Steve Yano? Steve Yano and I went back when I was bootlegging and I was selling Xerox and house mix tricks and house parties and all the other underground 12 inches I used to sell. I was at a store on Pico making a delivery, and Steve Yano, I'd never seen him before. I went to the swap meet, didn't pay him no attention. And he was trying to buy records from me. And what I was doing I felt was so illegal. I couldn't sell to anybody. I was like a dope dealer. I'm like looking over my shoulder. Give me my money. I'm gone. And Steve wanted to talk to me. I wouldn't talk to him at first. Hell no. And the guy behind the counter vouched for him. And Steve said, I've been looking for you. I'm like, oh, shit, they finally caught my ass. And he's like, no, man, I got to swap meet over to Rhodium. And he said Rhodium. I knew exactly who he was. I want to buy some of these records. And he came by the house, man. Steve became one of my best customers. Him and his wife, Sue. They became some of my best customers. And he come by the house. I mean, it got so bad at one time. It got so good. I can call it bad if you want to. It got so good at one time. I'd have to make separate orders for Steve. Would have a standing order with me, 200 to 300 records a week for of each one of my numbers. And sometimes I'd have 3 or 4 numbers at one time, even if different projects at one time. And he just got comfortable. Come by the house, man, and Dre would go to the swap meet and make mixes right there on the fly for him. He'd flip them up, turn them into cassettes and shit, man. And it was, he was always a good friend. His wife Sue. I've speak to her from time to time. Steve Yano was a very good dude. Yes, we were super cool, man. We were super cool, and he was a regular at my house. On Fridays was his pickup day because he had to swap me Saturday and Sunday. Every Friday he'd come by here and pick up his records.
And those Dr. Dre mixtapes are classic. Check out Tony A show on Rhodium Radio. Anybody who's not familiar out there, yep. He goes way back with Steve Yano, and he was they were. Tell us about mixtapes back in the day.
Mixtapes had a strange orientation into the hip hop industry, man. Because originally mixtapes were instrumentals that guys rapped on top of somebody else's beats, just to kind of compare themselves to the artist, to give themselves a little shine. So, and that was the primary purpose of mixtapes, was to give an artist, because everybody made instrumentals. Everybody that had pretty much had a single had an instrumental track. So people would take the instrumental, go to the studio, and do their own version of so and so's track. And because, it wasn't your music, you couldn't sell it. So you just give it away. And some cats were pretty dope. And that was the original motivation behind mixtapes. And then guys started doing original beats. Well, now, technically, it's not a mixtape. It's an album, fool. And you still giving it away. Okay? It's an album. And my boy, Jazzy D, he talks about this extensively, how Why is hip hop the only musical genre that will go to the studio, spend money to give the music away, okay, and not make it? I mean, you spend good money, pay producers, the whole 9 yards for your mixtape, and then give it away. Either you don't have much confidence in it. I mean, everybody got to give away some promo product. That's the given. But when you spend money, you only give away so many pieces of product. After that, you got to start selling that shit, okay? Or you just doing it for a hobby, okay? And that's usually how folks get it. And then after, like everything else in hip hop, it just got convoluted, man. The whole terminology, people started doing this shit and started Drake making mixtape. What Drake making a mixtape for? Lil Wayne got a mixtape. What Lil Wayne got a mixtape for? Just cats do shit, man. Just kind of got screwed up.
You want to know? I heard it from a different point of view because I was like, why do they give away so much free music? And then Lil Wayne explained it in an interview, and he said the point of like, say you sign a 7-8 album deal, you have to stretch that out like 8 years or something like that. You can't release like 8 albums in like 2 years and be off your contract quick.
Right.
So what they're doing is releasing, mixtapes to kind of, I guess, keep their name, fresh and stuff like that. But yeah, they can call it, and they have to call it a mixtape, not an album, because if it was an album, then that would count as an album, one less album on their contract. Does that make sense?
Right. That makes sense. It makes a lot of sense because if you go by the record contract, you'll starve to death because they can get pissed at you, hold your stuff up. You get mad at them. You don't want to record. And meanwhile, your shit is going down the tube. So it might not be a bad idea to keep something out there to keep your name in the eye of the public. But again, you're still giving away free music.
And it trips me out, Lonzo, that in 2022, artists are still complaining about their record labels, their record contracts. And it's crazy because remember that interview with Blueface a couple years ago? I mean, they flat out asked him on the Breakfast Club if he knows anything about his contract, and he was damn near proud to say, "Nope, I don't know shit about my contract." You would think in 2022, with all this technology, someone would do some,
Man, you know what? I've been thoroughly convinced the lure of drugs and pussy will make motherfuckers sign their name to any goddamn thing. And that's basically what happens, dude. You got young guys who see other guys allegedly living a certain lifestyle, and they got to actually live in that lifestyle. All you got to do is sign this contract. Don't read them. Don't worry about reading it. Just sign it. I'm going to make sure you got plenty of girls, plenty of weed, plenty of drink, and get you a new rock, get you a new whip and a watch, and maybe a gold chain. All right, cool. And then when you see a contract, the big number is in the front always. The big number, the value of the contract is always in the front, and that's what you see. That's what you go shopping in your mind with. You see that $1 million or $5 million, $3 million, whatever the case may be. You broke. You never had no money before, so you see that big ass number, and your mind goes shopping. Okay, your mind think about all the shit you can do, where you could go. Now, the next 38 pages is going to define how you can get that money, but in most cases, it's going to take it away from you, okay? And that's the part they don't never get till it's too late, okay? They're going to get a check. They're going to get an advance, okay? The advance check is to take control of the collecting your money and give you a percentage of something you already own 100% of, but most cats don't see it like that. If you're already hot and you got an album out already, or you got something already said, that's what Master P was such a genius of. Why do I need you to give me 10% of something I already got 100% of? Okay, this is mine. I'm already making money. Yet no, I'm not getting the sales numbers, but because I'm getting a bigger chunk of the overall pie, I don't need the same sales numbers to make the same amount of money. And if I'm going to make more sales, I need to make more money. So we're going to do it like this. And most cats didn't think like that. And he did and changed the game.
D-Cause says, Lonzo, talk to us about DJ Aladdin. He's actually in one of my artist's latest videos. Let us know about your guys' history.
DJ Aladdin was probably one of the baddest cats out of LA after he won the DJ contest in New York. everybody was on his ass. Everybody. In fact, he was the name I couldn't think of a couple of weeks ago. We were talking about bad DJs out of Compton, and he was that dude. And I think it was that damn it, one of those DJ competitions. He went out and acted a fool, okay, and came back with the prize. And he was on a couple of albums, and I didn't hear much from him after that. He kind of disappeared. I was working with one of his guys, Frank G, for a while, and he was trying to do some things with him, but we couldn't get it coordinated. And in fact, I'm gonna try and get him on the show. I know how to catch up with him. But yeah, he was the man for a while. Him, Joe Cooley. LA had some badass DJs. DJ Rectangle, a white boy out of Oceanside, killer. And LA took the DJ thing. When it came to DJing, LA got some of the coldest DJs around. I ain't gonna say all of them is. I ain't disrespecting nobody, but when it comes to the 80s and 90s, guys that were turntablists and turned it into a real instrument, some of the best ones came out of California or from the West Coast.
That is a fact. OG Shaq says, how do you feel about DJs back then to now?
I feel DJs back then had to have more talent and skill, or more talent. DJs nowadays have a lot of skills. It's a difference. And there is some talent included also, but computers have changed the whole concept of DJing. You got quick, what you call them, quick cue buttons and whatever the case may be, high cue buttons. It's real easy. It's a lot easier to sound better than you really are if you took away them quick cue, high cue buttons and gave a lot of these guys 1200s. They wouldn't know what to do with it. It'd be like giving a monkey a keys to your car, ain't gonna know what the fuck to do with it. Okay? And you got guys like Egypt, Dre, Yella, Joe Cooley, Aladdin, these guys, Rectangle, these guys, Bobcat, Battlecat, these guys are true turntables. Now, Battlecat's one of the few guys that can go both ways. Okay? He learned on turntables, but he also applies some of them same skills to a computer and a controller, which is a lot different, but he can do both of them. And I think that's where, if they ever have a competition, they need to have a competition for turntablists and a guy that plays on the console, because the console gives you a lot more options to play with, sound effects, special effects, blah, blah, blah. Where with turntables, you really got to put that shit down. You got to be on top of it. I've seen DJ Rectangle was mixing while the guy was actually moving the turntable with him. The turntable was being lifted up by another person. He was still mixing, and whatever he was doing, he stayed on beat. I mean, that right there was some phenomenal shit. Okay, I don't see that like I used to. It's like strippers, good old strippers. Back in the day, a stripper, boy, come on, man. If it was your birthday, she'd blow out all the candles with that thing. Okay, I ain't lying. She didn't worry about twerking. She'd get right in front of you. How old are you? I'm 22. She'd get some candles or some matches, and the cat, poof, blow them all out. Now you got money coming, baby. You got money coming for me, okay? I ain't seen nobody blow out no candles since 1992. Different era.
That's funny.
Different level of talent.
You know what? Speaking of different time, take yourself back to the early 80s. Explain the process of going to a DJ gig for the night. Even going to what records you're picking out, how many times you're setting up, you're breaking down, all that stuff.
You talking about when I was doing my thing, and I started doing my thing in 1977. Most of y'all wasn't born, and most of y'all parents was just born. Okay, 1977, I started doing this shit. All right. If you ever see the movie, what's the movie with Martin, House Party? Imagine Lonzo is the DJ. I'm Martin with a little old hatchback, stuffing all my records and turntables into a little hatchback. And unlike Martin, I couldn't put nobody else in my damn car with me. You couldn't go with me nowhere. You had to meet me. All right, because I got turntables, I got speaker. I got my boy Wayne speaker in the front seat. One of them, I'm driving like this, okay? I'm driving like this at the gig. Gig wasn't that far. It was only around the corner from the house, but still, I had 4 or 5 crates of records. I got a big ass Yamaha EM150 mixer because I didn't have no DJ. There were no DJ mixers out yet. There were no DJ mixers out when I first started doing this. You had to use a band mixer, plug your turntables into a band mixer about this big. And this heavy as hell because it's powered. Now I got these big ass speakers. These some bitches is heavy, okay? Everything was heavy back in the day. Everything was heavy. With no light shit. The records was heavy. Turntables was heavy. The speakers was hella heavy. The mixer was heavy. Everything was heavy. And I finally got out of, I had a Vega. Chevrolet Vega. That was my car. Vega was like a mini Camaro. I mean, a mini Camaro. And it wasn't until later on I got a van. And when I put my stuff in my den, it took up most of my den. Okay. When I started getting busy and DJing, when I would unload my truck, if I just threw it in the den, it would take up most of my den. And I realized doing a mobile party was like moving a 1-bedroom apartment 4 times in one night. Yes, right. Disco Lonzo, Willie Mo. You know how it go. To do a mobile back then, you had to have at least 8 to 10 crates of records because you're playing 12 inches most of the time. You got 8 to 10 crates and you're playing doubles. Okay. You got BGW. you got BGW amps, which weigh about 60 pounds a piece. You got at least 2 of them if you're running running 4 speakers, plus your EQ and your crossover. You got heavy ass consoles. We didn't have individual cases. We call them coffins back then. It was a one long ass case with two turntables and your mixer built into it. Okay. I brought lights and what no LEDs back then, baby. We was using the same shit. I was using the same shit for mobiles as they was using in the theaters. Okay. This shit was steel and iron. Okay. For real. All right. If you hung a mirror ball, you had to, man, come on, dude. You might have to borrow a ladder from the janitor to get up and hang the mirror ball up because everybody wanted the mirror ball because that was a hot thing to have. And the lights, even then, when you got through with the gig, you had to wait damn near 20 minutes for them to cool down because they'd be too damn hot to pick up. I'm doing shows with liquor store lights. Okay, this shit's hot. I could cook chicken on these motherfuckers. Okay, ain't bullshit. You could cook liquor store chicken on these lights. They'd be so damn hot. Okay, I'm not bullshitting. The halogen lights, them some bitches were hot as hell. You could not touch them with your hand. Most of them had screens over them so that you couldn't touch them, and even the screens would be hella hot. And you leave a gig, and you got to leave at least an hour and a half, 2 hours early to get there and set up because you never knew when there's going to be a problem. Somebody might not put the arm on the turntable, might not lock it down. If the arm slides, you're going to break a needle or bend a needle. You can't have one turntable all night. You got to have 2. You might have to go to Radio Shack. You may have to go to Radio Shack after you set the gig up. And see, cats we didn't have no type of decorum when it came to working with wires. So cats would just snatch wires out the back. Just snatch them out. Just snatch them. And when you start snatching wires, you start breaking wires. You get hurt, you get in a hurry, you tired, it's 2:30 in the morning, you trying to get home, you just start snatching shit, okay? And especially your roadies, they don't know nothing about grabbing the whole tip of the plug, the wire, pulling it out. They just start snatching the shit. So now you go to plug it back in and it don't work. You got all these wires, you didn't plug the ball, none of this shit was pre-plugged. You had to plug it in as you got there, from the mixer to the EQ to the amp, and the crossover to the EQ to the amp to the out to the speakers. And one side ain't working. You got to troubleshoot the whole damn thing. Okay? You got to troubleshoot the whole damn, and most cats didn't know how to troubleshoot. Troubleshooting is reasonable, what's called reasonable deduction. All you got to do is pull out one, figure out, and sometimes you got to take one side out and try the other one. Then you figure out what the wire is, and if you hopefully you got a spare. Hopefully you got a spare. Oh man, they didn't tell you that sometimes the building only had so many watts. I mean, so many watts of power. So if you plug in too much shit on one circuit, it's gonna blow every time you turn the volume up. And you don't know what a breaker is. You sitting there in the dark, you blew the whole place out. Don't know what the hell. You done plugged all this shit into one power strip, okay? Plugged it into one wall socket because you don't know nothing about electricity. You don't know nothing about electricity, dude. All you know is all this shit needs some plugs, okay? You plug all this shit into a power strip, run that power strip to a long extension cord to the wall, and then you wonder why the goddamn cord is hot as hell. Cord hot as hell, okay? Dude, I'm telling you, this is some real shit, man. This is real shit. This ain't none of this. Everything we did, it was hot. It was high powered and heavy. Okay, totally, dude. I see cats DJing with backpacks and a laptop, dude. If you didn't have a van back in the day, you couldn't be a DJ. If you didn't have a van back in the day, you couldn't be a DJ. You had to have a van or a pickup truck or knew somebody that had one.
Crazy. Okay. That's crazy, dude. You know, before we move on, continue. Rob Duran, who donated earlier, he says, "Did you ever work with Disco Daddy and Captain Rap?"
Nah. Well, I knew Disco Daddy. I still talk to Captain Rap right this. I talked to both of them. I think we might have did one show together because they were in the 80s. We were too. But for some reason, man, we didn't get booked together. I can't recall us getting booked together a lot at all. Most of the time I played with, when we first started playing a lot, it was always me, Egypt, Rudy, Dream Team, Russ Parr, Bobby Jimmy and the Critters, that type of stuff. I don't recall us ever playing with Disco Daddy and them, Kid Frost. We may have, but I can't recall it. We may have, but I can't recall it.
Okay. OG Shags, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, but break it down again, Lonzo. Who came up with the name World Class Wrecking Crew?
World Class Wrecking Crew came. We were my original company was Disco Construction. I'm in Alpine Village. I got two roadies hanging with me, Charles and Eric, and their job was to tear down my equipment because I'd be tired as hell. Back then, DJs stood up all night long. Wasn't no sit down DJs. Okay, you've been standing for 5 hours. You finally get a chance to sit down. You sit on the edge of the stage, and I had two guys to help me tear my shit down. And my boy says, "Hey man, if you Disco Construction, who are they? The Wrecking Crew?" And the shit stuck. I like that, Wrecking Crew. And then in 1984, when we made our first record, we came out as the Wrecking Crew. And if you notice, Surgery is Wrecking Crew, Juice is World Class Wrecking Crew. And we got a cease and desist letter from a lawyer out of Detroit because he says that there was a group called Wrecking Crew. And it is. It's a group out of Detroit called the Wrecking Crew. They were a house band to a label. Very popular cats. About 4 or 5 dudes, did a lot of music, and they were called the Wrecking Crew. So it's the Olympics in L.A. in 1984, never forget. And I called my lawyer and says, "Hey, man, if I got records out under the Wrecking Crew, and I kept hearing this phrase, world-class swimmer, world-class sprinter, world-class this, world-class that." I said, if I add the phrase world-class and messed up the spelling, think we can do something. He said, "Sure, no problem." That's how you got Wrecking with no G, CRU. And we just threw world-class on the front of it. World-class Wrecking Crew.
Bam, there it is. King D. Young says, "Hey, Lonzo and Dusty, isn't it strange that Tamika Wright doesn't bless Eazy-E's other children?" What do you think?
Man, you know what? If I said what I thought, I'd probably get kicked off of YouTube. But yeah, it is strange. I'm gonna leave it like that. It's very strange. I don't understand because I know one thing about Eazy loved his kids. Anybody that knows Eazy, when Eazy was making money, Eazy would stop what he was doing. Violet Brown will tell you. Violet Brown did my show. She said when Eazy, I think one of his daughters had a birthday, he had all the NWA and everybody else at the little girl's birthday party, Chuck E. Cheese. Got the whole Chuck E. Cheese. He was that kind of dude. So for his kids not to be blessed is, I don't get it. And again, I'm not gonna get into it in public.
Sorry. TT says, what do you think of the vinyl comeback?
I think it's cool, man. All I know is for sure that it's back. It's caused a major backlog in manufacturing. I was going to re-release a couple of my world-class record crew projects in a picture disc. That's when you put the cover inside of the thing. You press them together, and it's a picture. Instead of having the juice cover, the actual record would be juice with the cover inside of it. Same thing with world class album. Make a limited edition collector's edition, and shit, they told me I could get a record to 2024.
That's crazy.
Order them right now. You got to order them, pay for them, and you won't get a test press until 2024 because all the big plants in California are closed. Everybody now, you got to go to Tennessee to get records. Tennessee or Texas. I know Tennessee for sure, but Texas, I think there's a plant in Texas. Plus, when you start shipping records cross country, shit, you just lost a whole lot of money because shipping gonna tear your ass up. Records are heavy for real. Shipping will tear your ass up. That was the beautiful thing about CDs. When CDs came out, the shipping costs would drop tremendously. I mean, you can ship a CD for like damn near 50 cents, whereas a record might cost you $1.75 because you can't ship two of them. You got to ship two of them. If you ship a box might cost you shit. I don't know, $12, $13 to ship a box of records. Back then, I don't know what it costs now.
Damn. King D says, hey, Dusty, you up on the rap group Folsom? No, never heard of Folsom before, I don't think, off the top of my head. But I have a question for you, Lonzo.
Go for it.
My answer for this is Michael Jackson's Thriller. What album cover came out and you were like, this is a badass album cover? This is like, that just set the standard, like changed the game for album covers.
Man, when I saw, I'm going back for a minute now. When I saw the George Clinton, I think it was album cover with the big bird, and homeboy had his certain nose was in front of the big bird, the big white bird. That was some dope shit to me, dude. There's a picture, there's an album cover of George Clinton. There's this big ass bird.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. That shit is cool.
Okay. I mean, and then back in the day, the album cover to have was anything by the Ohio Players. They had some of the baddest body chicks of that era on their album covers with honey on them and snakes and fire hoses. Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm checking it out right now.
Oh, dude. Ohio album players, album cover, shit. That was a poor black man's dream. Because they had some fine women on the album covers. Bald-headed. Most of them was bald-headed. Okay. Who wanted a bald-headed woman? I did. They made you like bald-headed chicks. Lady with the honey, yes, sir, Martin. That's right. The one with the honey, come on, man. Come on, dude.
And you know what? Now that you say that, I remember that I think it was an Ecstasy album cover or something. There's a guy standing up. He's hugging a girl, and then there's another guy in between her legs, kind of. And I remember that being very controversial. I heard about it later being very controversial.
That was a major shit back then. That was major shit. And then when Ice-T put Darlene in the bathing suit with the shotgun behind her back, now that right there was some hip hop history right there, boy. That was some true hip hop history.
Yeah, she was my favorite. To this day, I remember that vividly. That white suit, and oh yeah,
man, that was, oh my God. That for that at that time, that was the shit.
I don't know if you've seen her recently, but she is still bad as all.
Man, I watch her all the time. I see her on 5150 with over Corey Holcomb.
We're going to follow her on Instagram right quick. I'm just playing. Nice. Going back to DJing, Lonzo, how did you arrange your records that night? Did you have everything in alphabetical order? Do you have it like separated by slow jams and upbeat jams?
I had my hot crate, I had my slow crate, I had my oldies, and I had just miscellaneous songs that I would play early in the night just to keep people moving that I wasn't gonna play again. Because you never want to shoot your wad too early. That's one thing about DJing. DJing is almost like having sex. You can't bust too fast. Okay, if you bust too fast, you gotta try and do it too many times in one night. But with and that's I learned that from broadcast school. Take your time. Okay, play some stuff that you can they call them throwaway cuts. It may be an older cut, maybe something a little older, maybe 6 months old, a year old, something like that. People still like it, but it ain't as hot as it used to be. But it's still a good song. And then I never really worried about BPMs too much. That was Fuck You Unknown.
You said Roger Clayton did that for him?
Yeah, he kissed my ass. Okay, I did it for him, if anything. That was it was everybody had their own way of doing it. Some guys had their stuff in alphabetical order. I never but I did have a certain order, and I would go through and I would pull them, and once I pulled them, I'd always when they would mash together, I'd leave them set up. That was how I knew what I was going to play. When the record was playing, I'd go through and pull me 3 or 4 more records I thought might fit in this genre. I just pull them up out the crate, let them hang out the crate so I can grab them a lot faster. I ain't got to look for
them. Okay.
What up,
so 1976, 1977, what did you get paid on an average night of DJing?
$150.
Oh, that's not bad, actually.
I'm sorry. I said it too fast.
Oh, okay.
Regina Chaley, my first regular gig was $60. $60. That was my first regular gig. Every Friday, every Saturday. Well, hold on.
Thank you, American Negro. Thank you so much, man.
Much love to you. Thank you very much. I think we did those shows on Saturdays, 7 to 11. I'd get $60. It cost me $20 rent to speakers and shit. So every once in a while I get lucky and book 2 gigs back to back. And that make me have a good profit. Then I got to 100. Then I got to 150. 150 was like a whole pinnacle, because 150 was a no argument situation. Okay, tell somebody 150, and it was maybe 150, 225 if I had to bring some lights, because I had to go rent the lights. I didn't make money on lights at all, but I like have because makes you look a lot better when you had lights. But yeah, it was 150 was probably my going rate. Truck full of equipment, gas, everything. Brother pull up 150, but I did that shit sometimes on a weekend, maybe 4 or 5 times. I'd work Friday, early Saturday afternoon for maybe a fashion show or something like that. Hit another gig, go home, take a shower, hit another gig. That's 3. And do the same thing Sunday sometime. Do a fashion show or a birthday party or a backyard boogie. You didn't give a damn. 150. Okay? So I'm making between $300 to $550 or $300 to $600 a week sometimes on the weekend. Okay? Never did shows in the week. Wasn't no gigs back then for me during the week. I had a job. So I worked on the weekends. I leave Kenny's at 6 o'clock and go do my shit.
Damn, man. D-Car says, hey, Lonzo, DJ Battlecat bigged you up on the Sway in the Morning show.
Yeah, I watched that, man. Somebody sent me the link last week. That was good. I appreciate anybody from especially of his level to always get a shout out, because he started here with me. He came back. He was already a DJ, but he came here. I took him on the road. With me. Showed him some things. Gave him keys to the studio. Access to drum machines, turntable, shit he didn't have. So he was able to get his feet wet here, and you see where he is right now.
DJ Battlecat has the best beard in hip hop, next to the rapper Rick Ross. I gotta find out what that dude is doing, man.
He got the DJ Battlecat. I told you he got the best beard on the West Coast for damn sure.
I knew I wasn't the only one who thought that.
I told him we was walking a couple of weeks ago. I said, Cat, I'm gonna give you the honor of telling you got the best beard in West Coast hip hop. That's for damn sure.
Facts. Last question. Did you see the Tommy Sotomayor thing with the female on the podcast Fresh and Fit?
No, I didn't. What happened?
A couple days ago, he got into a legit fight with a girl on the Fresh and Fit podcast. When you get it, now that I told you, look it up and you'll find it. Yeah, it's just a couple days ago, sitting right next to her, and he went to their podcast, and he said some things she didn't like. They went back and forth. The B word started flying, and she, hauled off on him. He hauled back off on her, and they were separated.
Wow. Only in America.
Yeah, man.
And the charges are getting pressed?
I don't know. We'll see. When you're that wealthy, you got to be careful with things like that, man.
Wait, is my girl the poetess? As I see the poetess online. What's up, baby? How you doing?
Shout out to the poetess. She knows she was one of my first. I call them radio crushes. Shout out to Morris Media Studios, the poetess, and I just realized, or I just remembered that she used to rap as well. We kind of touched on that she had a rap group
on a regular basis. When she first got here from San Francisco, she was hanging out with Rose and D right here at the pad. I tell you, I was like the first stop of everybody in hip hop. Okay, me and Paul just go back. Shit, got to be 35 years, man. That's no bullshit. When she first got to LA from San Francisco, I think it was. I know she came from somewhere up north. She came up down here. If you look at the promo pictures for Body and Soul, she's in there. Okay.
Yeah.
She's in the promo pictures for Body and Soul. Okay?
That's dope. Miss Morris, Felicia, if you can come on the show and share your story with Lonzo. I don't think you've ever had her on, have you? I know you guys work together. But I would love to hear, as a radio nerd, I would love to hear her story.
I just called her the other day because I saw her in Battle Cat on Sway's show. I said, hey, next time I want to talk to Sway. I said, next time you need a triple OG, give Sway my number, okay? I forgot I didn't realize he was in town for a Super Bowl, but her and Battle Cat was on the show. Was on his show, and I heard it. I watched the whole show. I said, you know what? Because he had some questions that only a triple OG can answer, okay? And the Battle Cat mentioned me, but I need to meet Sway so we can talk old school to new school.
Yeah, that would be hard. And from a real radio nerd, I'm gonna double up on it. I would love to hear the poetess's journey through radio as a female in the 90s. I'm sure her story is amazing. So let's see if we can make that happen. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right. She's gonna hook it up.
Cool. You got anything coming up on Thursday?
Thursday, me and Dre may do an introductory run to see how things is gonna work. That's my tentative plan right now. I'm gonna get with Dre, and last time we did an interview, I couldn't get him on camera. He had to get his technician to show him how to make things happen, give some assistance, put it that way. I ain't clowning. So we're going to work on that. We might just do a show, just a dry run, just to see how it's working. So if y'all ain't doing nothing Thursday, join me and Dr. Dre from EOMTV Raps. I got to keep saying that. Anytime people see Lonzo and Dr. Dre, they mind start lying to him. It ain't that one, it's the other one. I ain't never claimed that somebody said Lonzo trying to do a bait and switch. Nope, I never. I tell you what I'm going to do, and you still don't pay me no attention. I told y'all, Dr. Dre from EOMTV Raps. I ain't tried to bait and switch nobody. I told you what I was going to do, but no, motherfuckers don't hear. Okay.
That's funny. I can't wait to hear that. And if I can be of assistance in any way in the background, please let me know. That show is going to be legendary, and I want to stay busy. So please let me know if I can help out.
You got it. Where I go, you go.
Most def. American Negro says in the 90s I met Sway and Tech because I was with Ahmad from the song back in the day. Ahmad is so dope. I used to love those Sway and Tech mixtapes that they used to have, American Negro. You took me back. I'm going to have to go check those out. And thank you for running the channel. American Negro is holding the chat down.
Yes, I see that. Love to you.
Really,
thank you very much.
Really, really appreciate it.
Somebody
anything else, my man?
Media work, man. I wrote this number down. It was somebody hit me up last week about doing some social media stuff for the channel.
I remember them saying something in the comments.
Was it
I'm sure he emailed you. I think he emailed you.
Was it Mo Money McCoy?
I can't remember.
I get hit up so much. I call myself write the shit down, but I got so many pieces of paper on my damn desk and so many different notes. I see it was Joshua Tall, something like that. I'm gonna hit him up. All right, folks.
It was Joshua Tall. It was
Joshua Tall. Dusty One, we out, folks. Chat room, we out of here. Everybody who dropped something in the till. Much love to you, baby. Much love to you. Thank you very much. Always appreciate it. Always nothing but love for my folks in the chat room. Dusty, I'm going to take you out of here. In the meantime, folks, this is Lonzo, the Godfather of West Coast hip hop. And like I say, every time I open up this microphone, from the West Coast to the East Coast and everything from between, folks, from Eve After Dark to concerts in the park, y'all. This is how we do it. This is how it's done. If you're doing it with me, it's damn sure going to be fun. This is Lonzo, the Godfather. We out, baby. Peace.